Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about what Jakarta Servlet listener is. Okay. Before talking about Servlet listener, we have to understand event first. So what is event? And the first sentence, I think I copied from Google Translate, which is something that happens. And some people probably knows JavaScript. Okay, and in JavaScript, we can use JavaScript to add some behaviors in our HTML, which is our browser, right? And it's gonna be when we click a button, something displayed. And when we hover on the MagNav tab, okay, it will show sub navigation, right? And when we type something in the form, okay, the key press is also an event. So here, like click, mouse hover, and the key up, key press, of all of them are event. Give an example is like something like graduation, okay, ceremony is suppose on which day we will hold a graduation ceremony. It's gonna be an event, okay. And you graduate, you what other event? Okay, today. Today is November 11, right? Which when we write in number, it's 11111.11, November 11th. And today has the biggest promotion event online in a famous website in China called Taobao, Alibaba. They hold the biggest promotion event on the website for the entire year. And I'm not sure now, but from the news, people went crazy. Okay, they stay till the opening day, which is till the November 11:00 a.m. So they have the biggest promotion. It's like Black Friday here, but I feel probably also larger compared with Black Friday. Okay. Anyway, this year I was trying to participate because we have event, and for the customers' reaction, yes, I want to purchase, but I didn't do this year. Okay, so let's come back, okay? In web application, an event can be like when we do Java Servlet, okay, application, Java web application. It's like when we initialize of the application, when our application start up, when the context, servlet context, which is being created, initialized, when we shut down the Tomcat, okay, destroying an application, when we have a request from the client, okay, when we create a session and destroy a session, and when we modify an attribute in the session, all of them can be an event, okay. So what is a servlet listener? First, servlet listener are event-based, okay. So servlet provides many APIs, okay, provides many different listeners for different types of events. In previous slides, we talk about event can be, here we listed so many events here. And the listeners for different type of events, we are gonna provide different listeners. So this is very different from filter, because a filter, we only has one kind of filter. If we want to implement a filter, we just implement that only filter interface, right? But for listener, it's different. For different type of events, we have different listeners. So listener is not only one. We have lots, okay, which is different from servlets. Servlets, we just extend HTTP servlets. For filter, we just implement that filter, right? But listener, we have so many kinds, okay? And the listener interface declares method to be work with a group of similar events. And we will talk about different event types and the different listeners later. So servlet context listener, here have example. We can use it to listen to the startup and shutdown event of a context. And this can be used to solve the problem. Do you still remember in last video I explained, I gave an example. Why should we use, why do we need servlet listener? And the example is, I want to have my database connection object ready in the global, in servlet context when the application starts. So it's going to be used everywhere across entire application, right? And at that time, we give example, like you can suppose one entry point we can do in servlets, but it's not a good idea. How to solve? We can use servlet context listener, because when it start up, okay, of our when we start up application, and when the servlet context, which is a global object, is being initialized by the Tomcat, okay, we can add that object into the global, okay. So servlet context listener we can use to do that task. Also, we can do is every method in the listener interface will take an event object as input. We'll show you. You can get an event, what kind of event it is. And event object works as a wrapper to provide a specific object to that listener. And we will see we'll give you a concrete example later. Here is the architecture about the listener. So listeners are different from the filter. You have to understand, okay? Here is our listener. Oh, sorry. This is next video's content. Okay, I have to use it. So when the client make a request, it may go through the listeners based on what you need, okay? And for the listeners, based on different types of listener you implemented, it may go through your listener, it may not go through your listener, based on the event, okay? And the listeners can also be used to listen for the actions or events happened in the container. And which is, suppose you you destroy a session, it's gonna go through your listener, okay? And the filters after all things happen in the container, and container will resolve the filter chain, okay, which is here we have the filter. Filters are used to filter the request before going to the destination. Destination is our servlets, and based on your filter URL configured, it may go through one filter, it may go through several filters, okay? And it can, when the request comes, it may go through one listener, but for that request, it may go through several filters and several servlets, because servlets you can do what? You can do forward. When you forward, we actually go through two servlets, right? So that is the listener. Where it is the listener, okay? Listener and filters, they are totally different. Listeners are used for what? Listeners are used for filtering the requests before going to the destination, our servlets. Some tasks like logging, authentication, auditing, authentication, authorization, you can also do in filter. Auditing, logging, you can all use filter. Listener are used for what? Listener are used for listen for the events happened in servlet container, okay, Tomcat. make sure event, when you have event comes, then you can use listener. Like you create a session, destroy a session, and you want to put something in the application context or servlet context. Those scenarios we use listener. Okay, so that's for this video. We talked about what servlet listener is. Okay, and the next video I will show you the just briefly take a look at the listener APIs available inside Jakarta EE. Okay, I'm done. Thank you so much for watching my video. See you next time. Bye bye.